HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Welcome to The Bahamas Tonight. I'm LaDawn Davis. Topping the news tonight, the government is revolutionizing the gaming sector in the Bahamas, much of it in part to consulting with world leaders in the online gaming business. Leading the way for the country is partner at AG Consulting, Alicia Gibson. She's worked in the gaming business in South Africa with the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board, the Office of the Attorney General, and has been a public prosecutor and magistrate in Cape Town as well. She led the team that drafted the new legislation for the country.
Well, I think it's important to bear in mind that from the very beginning, when we embarked upon this project of modernizing and transforming the landscape of the legislative position in the Bahamas relating to gaming, that top on the agenda was, apart from creating a cutting-edge product, a cutting-edge jurisdiction with streamlined, effective regulation, was to position the Bahamas as a world leader in regulation from the point of view of respecting anti-money laundering legislation, ensuring that proper mechanisms were in place for the identification of criminal suspicious activities, making entirely and completely sure, and we went to extensive lengths to do this, that the legislation would stand up to any kind of muster from that perspective.
Junkanoo lovers can expect to see some new additions at the Boxing and New Year's Day Junkanoo parades. President of the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence, Silbert Ferguson, says he is excited to see that more groups throwing their hat in the race for the highly competitive holiday parades. Ferguson gave us a little taste of what we can expect from these new groups on Bay.
Last year we had two other new groups who were in the exhibition category. This year they are active. This year we have two new groups that are going to come on board, the Genesis group and the Exodus group. And so they will perform in the exhibition category on Boxing Day morning, and they will be live in the parades for a competition on New Year's Day. This is the first time that we will have a total of 19 groups performing at this year's Boxing Day and New Year's Day Junkanoo parades.
Additionally, the B groups will do 2 laps and the A groups will do 3 laps at both parades. But so far, Ferguson says ticket sales for both holiday parades are going well, but rather slow this time around.
Sales are going well. They are very, very slow. As you know, we have been engaged with our public now for the last 3 or 4 years. And we know that we open a little earlier. We give them 6 weeks. And as we open early, we realize that there is a huge movement in the first 2 or 3 days. And then there's a lull. And so we know that come December the 15th, right now 50% of the parade is sold for Boxing Day, and we only have about 20% of the New Year's Day parade sold. And so we're encouraging our customers to please come out, get an early dip at this.
These groups will be coming in on Bay Street.
One by one, representatives from all of the major Junkanoo groups put their hands in the drawing box and picked the order of entry for this year's Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade. At the annual Junkanoo drawing, hundreds of Junkanoo fans lined Arawak Quay, waiting to hear what order their favorite group will line up to compete. And the lineup goes something like this.
Number one music makers will be coming in. Number one music makers have drawn number 1.
The music makers will come out of the blocks first, the Shell Saxon Superstars in second, the Prodigal Sons in third, One Family Warriors fourth, the Paradise Games Valley Boys in fifth, and Roots in 6th. Junkanoo fans even got a chance to hear the synopsis and themes for each group. Prodigal Sons will execute Portraits of Bahamian Currency. Music Makers Flowers, Saxon's Alien Invasion. One Family will come out on Bay with Bit the Japan Invasion. Valley Boys, A Celebration of Peace. And Roots will depict expressions of love.
Roots draws number 6.
From the crime beat, 11 women were arrested during an operation conducted by officers from the Selective Enforcement Team overnight. Acting on intelligence, that team headed to a nightclub located on East Street near East-West Highway, where they met 11 Jamaican women suspected of solicitation for prostitution. The women were taken into custody for breach of the Immigration Act. Police also arrested 2 of the club's managers for breach of the Business License Act. Also tonight, police say they are following significant leads into yesterday afternoon's homicide taking place in Nassau Village. Now, according to reports, the man was shot and killed outside his home in Nassau Village Friday afternoon. Police on the scene said he was shot multiple times. At least 14 shells marked the scene near the victim's body. If you have any information, you should contact police at Crime Stopper 328 TIPS or 911 or 919.